everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back, and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. So in this video, I will show you how to sublimate tumblers using a 20-ounce sublimation tumbler and my PYD Life mini sublimation oven. Come on, y'all. Let's get started. For this project, I will be using a PYD Life 20-ounce sublimation tumbler. I will be using A-Sub sublimation paper. I will be using Cricut heat tape, alcohol, a squeegee, and a fabric measuring tape. In addition to my Epson EcoTank 2750 that I converted to sublimation. I will leave a list of these items in the description of this video. For this video, I will be using a design that I purchased from Etsy. When selecting your sublimation design, you want to make sure that your design states that it is for a 20-ounce tumbler. Once you purchase your design, you will download it to your computer. To download it to your computer, you would go to your account and select the drop-down menu, and then you will select purchases. Under purchases, you will locate your file, and then you will select download files. And then you will select the PNG file and you would hit download. Once the file downloads, it will download into your File Explorer in your download folder. To print, I will be using Silhouette Studio Business Edition. You can also use the free version for printing. So here I am going to set up the page for printing 8.5 by 11. To do this, I am going to select the page setup panel, which is the first icon on your right. And then I want my machine to say none. I want my cutting mat to say none. I want my media size to be letter. And then I'm going to change my orientation to landscape. And then I'm going to select show print borders. Next, I'm going to check to make sure that my print page setup is correct. And so to do this, I am going to go to the top menu on the left. Under File, I'm going to select File. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to select Print Page Setup. I am going to make sure that my paper size says letter and that my orientation says landscape, and then I'm going to hit OK. With the page setup complete, I am going to add my sublimation image to the canvas. To do this, I am going to select File on the top menu. I'm going to select Merge. I am going to navigate to where the file is located. I'm going to select my file, and then I'm going to select OK. Once the sublimation image is on the canvas, I am going to size it according to the measurements of the tumbler. To size my image, I am going to measure my tumbler. I am going to be using a fabric measuring tape, and I am going to be using this fabric measuring tape that has the fractions on it, which is easier for me to convert to decimals. So I am going to first measure the circumference of my tumbler. Then I'm going to measure the height of my tumbler. According to the measurements, I am going to size the image to 9.45 in width and 7.9 in height. So on the top toolbar, so I'm going to select my image, and then on the top toolbar, I am going to unlock my aspect ratio. I am going to change my width to 9.45 and hit enter. And then I'm going to change my height to 7.9 and hit enter. With the image still selected, I am going to go to the top menu and I am going to select Center to Page. Once I have my sublimation image size, I am going to print. To print, I am going to select File on the top menu. I'm going to select Print. The print preview will open. Here is where I'm going to double check to make sure that my sublimation image is inside of the print borders. And then I'm going to select Print. I'm going to select my sublimation printer. And then I'm going to select Preferences. I'm going to make sure that my document size is a letter 8.5 by 11. I want my paper type to be Premium Presentation Matte. And I want my quality on high. I'm going to select the More Option tab. And I am going to make sure that the high speed is not checked. And I'm going to make sure that the mirror image is checked. Under color correction, I am going to select Custom. And then I'm going to select Advanced. I'm going to select Color Control. And then I am going to change my color mode to Adobe RGB. I'm going to select my gamma at 2.2. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to select OK again. And then I'm going to select Print. Once the sublimation image has printed, I am going to cut the design to size by cutting off the white edges around the image. When cutting your image, you want to make sure that you cut all the white off so that there is no unwanted white spaces on the tumbler. I will be using an X-Acto knife and a ruler to cut the white edges off, but you can use scissors if that's what you have. Before putting the sublimation image on the tumbler, I am going to clean the tumbler with alcohol to remove anything that may interfere with the sublimation process. Now, to place the sublimation image on the tumbler, I am going to place my tumbler on the table upside down. And then I'm going to place my design on the tumbler upside down. So you want to make sure that you turn your design. So this is my design. You want to turn your design upside down, and then you just want to place it on your tumbler, and you want the top of the tumbler and the top of the sublimation image to kind of align at the top, because that's where everybody is going to see your image. So then once you get your image on straight, then you want to put a piece of tape So I'm going to take a piece of heat tape. I'm going to put it on the tumbler. And then I'm just going to pull the paper really tight. So pull the paper really tight. You want to pull it really tight so that it lays flat onto the tumbler. So when you pull it tight, then you want to take another piece of tape and you want to put it on the bottom part of the tumbler. You want to secure the tape and then pull it really, really tight so that you can make sure that you get all of the air in between the paper and the tumbler. You want to make sure that the paper is laying flat onto your tumbler. And then I am going to repeat that process for the bottom of the tumbler. So I'm just going to put a piece of heat tape on this side, and then I'm going to pull it really tight like that. And so now you can tell that there's no air in between your tumbler and your paper. And so you just want to finish taping up the seam of your tumbler. And to tape the seam of your tumbler up, you're just going to overlap your tape. And then you still want to make sure that you pull really, really tight all the way down. Next, I am going to tape up the top of the tumbler. So I have the seam complete, and now I'm going to focus on the top of the tumbler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a long piece of tape. So I have this long piece of tape here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put the tape on the top of the tumbler on the side where the paper overlap. So I'm going to put the tape half on the tumbler and half off of the tumbler. And then I'm just going to pull the tape really tight around the top of the tumbler. I'm just going to pull it really tight. And once I get the tape around the tumbler, then I'm just going to fold the tape over into the tumbler like that. Then after I get it on, I'm just going to check to make sure that the paper is making contact with the tumbler. And if it's not, then I'll just take another piece of tape, and in the area where it is not making contact or the paper is wrinkled, I'm just going to put a piece of tape on that spot, and then I'm just going to pull it really tight to make that area lay down. So you just pull it really tight, and then it'll make that wrinkled area lay down. So that's what you want to check to make sure that all the areas on your tumbler is laying flat. I will do the same for the bottom of the tumbler. So once I have my tumbler taped, I am going to use a squeegee to press down the seams. So you just want to press down the seam to make sure that the paper is making contact with the tumbler. So you're going to press down the seam, press on both sides where the paper either meet or overlap. You're going to press that area down as well, because you want to make sure that the paper is making contact with the tumbler. So you're going to press that area down, and then you're just going to do the exact same thing for the top of your tumbler. You just want to make sure that the paper is making full contact with your tumbler. And you don't want any gaps in between your paper and your tumbler. So I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, making sure that the paper is making contact with the tumbler. Now I have the tumbler taped and I'm ready for the sublimation oven. According to the instructions for my sublimation tumblers, the oven should be set at 355 degrees for 6 minutes. So I am going to press the temperature gauge, and then I'm going to turn the dial to 355. And then I'm going to hit the time gauge, and I'm going to turn to 6 minutes. And then I'm going to hit run. I'm going to come back when the oven has heated up and ready for the tumbler. The oven is at temperature, so I am going to place the tumbler inside. The oven has beeped, indicating that the tumbler is ready. So I'm going to take the tumbler out and let it cool. And I'll be back once the tumbler has cooled off, and I will remove the paper. Okay, so the tumbler has cooled off. And so now we are going to remove the tape. Ooh, oh my God, so pretty. Wow, this is so pretty. This is my scene. Wow, that is so gorgeous. I love it. Oh my goodness, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about my tumbler? It is gorgeous. All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope that you're able to follow along with my process. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.